As many countries around the world have reopened their doors to travel, people are jumping on planes once again in big, big numbers. So that is great for the tourism industry. However, there has been a lot of travel chaos that has ensued.
Oh, we are hearing stories of canceled flights, lost luggage, extreme delays. I know you've heard it at the airport. So that's the question we have, what we all have. What are our rights? Here to break it all down for us is lawyer Lilly Coodin. Welcome back, Lilly.
Thank you. Nice to see you too. Lilly, okay, so nice to see you again. But let's talk about, first of all, why are we experiencing so much travel chaos right now?
It has basically been the perfect storm. During the pandemic, travel stopped, a lot of people were laid off, and they haven't all come back to work. Couple that with this renewed excitement about travel. It feels like everyone and their mother is going on a trip right now. And a lot of people are also getting sick with COVID, so they're calling in sick. They have to be off work for a week or 2 weeks. Traveling by air especially involves a lot of moving pieces. You have to get on your plane. There are maintenance people, baggage people, flight control people. If even one of those puzzle pieces is a little bit off, it can have huge repercussions. So a lot of airlines are responding by cutting their routes, saying, we're going to try to offer better service for the routes that we do have. But it has a lot of people saying, I wonder if it's worth it to fly right now or maybe not.
Okay, so let's say somebody's watching and they've decided, okay, you know what, it's going to be worth the headache. I'm just going to go ahead and plan this trip. How do you figure what your rights are ahead of time before trouble hits?
So the Passenger Bill of Rights came into effect a few years ago. So it's great that we have that. It's widely accessible online. So you can look it up and you can see exactly what your rights are. The main thing is that for the most part, if you are owed compensation, it's going to be only in a situation where whatever has happened is within the airline's control. So that is a big kind of bone of contention where you're not going to get paid if there's a snowstorm that delays your flight. And sometimes there are disagreements, let's say, between the airline and the passengers as to whether something was actually within their control or not.
Okay, so let's talk about something that's in control. You mentioned that many airlines are canceling flights. So if you're on a flight that is canceled, what are the rights?
So if you're lucky, your flight will be canceled before you actually leave for your trip, because then at least you have somewhere to stay. In those cases, the airline has to put you on a new flight run by them or one of their partners, and you should have some say over, the timing. If you were supposed to leave at noon and they want you to leave on a 3 a.m. flight, maybe you can't make it to the airport, you should have some say. You also may have greater flexibility in terms of getting a refund. You may be missing the event that you were traveling for, and they should be offering you a refund in those cases. The worst situation is when you're already at your destination and your flight is canceled. So in those cases, they should be putting you on a new flight again. If they can't get you on a flight on their own airline within 9 hours, they should be pulling out their credit card and buying you a flight on a competing airline. Yes. And in addition, if you have to stay overnight as a result of a canceled flight that's canceled for a reason that's within their control, they should be putting you up in a hotel and paying your transportation to and from the airport.
Right.
So no.
What about missed connections?
Yeah, missed connections are a big one. Again, you miss one flight and then it has a huge repercussion on the rest of your day. So again, you have to be put on another flight in a timely way. The Passenger Bill of Rights has a scheme that tells you how much compensation you're entitled to. So if it is a large airline, if you are delayed between 3 and 6 hours, you're entitled to $400. 6 to 9 hours is $700. 9 hours or longer, it's $1,000. Again, has to be within the airline's control, and it's challenging because sometimes the airline knows why their flight is delayed, but they aren't necessarily as forthcoming with their passengers.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, here's another big one. We've been seeing a lot of this on the news. Lost luggage. What do you do in terms of compensation?
Yeah.
Kwame just went through this in his honeymoon. So.
Yeah, lost luggage is definitely having a moment. We've all seen it on social media. So you could be entitled to compensation of over $2,000 if your bag is lost. You have to make sure that you file a claim with the airline within 7 days if you're complaining about damaged bags, because that happens as well, and within 30 days if your bag is lost or presumed lost. We've seen a lot of tips, on social media, how to pack light so that you can take carry-on only. Some people are putting tracking devices in their bags, which is true. Other people, there are companies now that will ship your bag separately from your flight to ensure that it will get there. So it really is a question of how badly you want your bag. You know, some people end up having their flight, their trip ruined because they spend their whole time calling the airport and trying to get a hold of their bag. It's really just a question of how much you care about what's in it and, you know, not packing any valuables that you wouldn't be happy to lose.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this because as you just mentioned, like, you know, getting somebody on the phone, like a human on the phone, we know is difficult at the best of times. So let's say any one of these number of situations happened. How hard is it going to be to get back what we're owed, even if we have this passenger bill of rights?
Right. Yeah. Airlines are not exactly known for being generous with giving you money back. That's not what they're known for. So it can be really challenging. Admittedly, you can file a complaint with the Canadian Transportation Agency, but a really good route is if you have your own insurance, you may want to engage that as well, because sometimes that will help to sort of move along the process and get you a refund faster.
Okay, so speaking of insurance, at what point do you bring in the insurance to deal with this situation?
As early as possible. So you may have insurance policies that you don't even realize you have. Sometimes credit cards have them. Sometimes a plan through your employer will have it and you didn't even realize it. And it will cover things like flight delays, cancellations, lost bags. They may require, as part of the policy, for you to claim through the airline first, but they also may not. So generally, these policies that are yours alone are easier to claim through. They're more streamlined than going through an airline.
Lilly, great and timely information. Knowledge is power. Thank you.
No, you're right.
No, you're right. No,